What's he doing?
Moving.
It's like a two-dimensional being trying to comprehend a cube. I am down here. My only hope is that he views me as endearingly naive as opposed to a complete. What is that? His terminal's blue. How does he do that? Whole other level.
Yeah, turn forward on the buffer start.
I always had this notion that the developer is someone that can get things done in the program. There is something that doesn't work, and they are just able to go and fix it.
So I've had the chance to work with a lot of developers over the years. I found that the best results you can actually get if people are actually using their own code and they're using the software.
Finding like a good balance and trade-off for like the artist tools. So when, for instance, I request something, we have a conversation, and maybe it doesn't end up exactly how I wanted it to. It is, it fits the overall architecture and guidelines of the software, so it fits.
Then when I got exposed a little bit more to development and started to program myself and also work with more developers, work with other projects, I also learned that it's not so simple sometimes.
I like organize developers and also just go and do it, and then you fix it afterwards, or some other team fixes it 20 years later, like is happening now.
I think it's a skill to communicate why a certain feature cannot be implemented or why it could.
Someone that has the skill and the empathy to understand what a user needs and the ability to deliver that.
I mean, the stash of laptops, yeah, that's just part of the work. The Mac is like just set up for the build environment, so you know that stuff is done good. If you run into something platform specific or specific to the GPU, you grab this laptop. That's for some Windows debugging, Windows on ARM debugging, and this is just personal thing, which you also use to go to meetings and stuff. The rest, I don't know. It was somewhere around, 2004 or something, where I first saw Blender somewhere. I forgot where it was. And the first version just open it, try to use it, and it closed just because nothing makes sense. It's again at the time where there was barely any internet in Russia. There was no Blender books in Russia. Eventually, internet started to be much more accessible, and there were like some online tutorials, and it's like, well, okay, so now you can write it. It's like, well, actually, there is some ideas behind how to use Blender. It's not that. Well, it is weird, but you can use it.
Sergey always has been very versatile. He can do many things. So usually you give him the complex stuff, the stuff that nobody dares to touch, give it to him. So that's why he also did motion tracking, for example, which is algorithms to look at pictures and find features in a picture and follow the motion of it within the video.
This is one of the very first demos of the motion tracker. So this is how you used to motion track. This is how Blender used to look in 258.1. But this kind of motion track, it wasn't even possible back then. So gorgeous makeup or some dirt.
And it was super nice to have Sergey just going heads on and basically implementing a whole new area of Blender that we didn't have before, just like that.
They gave me a birthday gift. So they know I am a fan of Apple products. And so there was this Mac Pro that is called by people for fun. They call it a cheese grater because it has this frame in the front with like all these holes that makes it almost kind of look like a cheese grater. You see it's just like designed by Sergey and Andy in Amsterdam. So it's like package designed by Sandra. and it's a cheese grater. And this is an actual computer. And the amount of work, all the 3D printed stuff that Andy made, and then all the circuit and all the stuff that Sergey made, I was mind blown. This is like one of the coolest gifts that I ever had in my life, because it really showed like the care and the passion and the fun that these guys had like doing this for me, and I keep it. It's an amazing gift. It's an amazing memory of that time.
My parents were working on the technical university. We had computer like at home like quite early. We see like what they're doing, and then you see like, well, there's this programming thing. It's like, well, that's kind of interesting. And it's like, okay, there is like, there's video games. And it's like, well, that's also interesting. You can play some video games. But then you can also like say, well, there's this video game and there's programming thing. Like, okay, so how does this work? And then you tinker with things, and you just learn things. It's like, well, then there is like this OpenGL, and then like you go and like try to do some render engine with OpenGL or something, and it's like you realize, well, but you also need the physics, and then like you somewhere in a school, like I don't know, middle school or something, and you try to do some physics engine. Some evening projects you did like for some art or some other things, until you realize, hey, this functionality is just missing, and then like you make your mistake of the life saying, well, I know how to develop, let's fix this in Blender. And you propose the fix, and then you present it in the IRC to this guy called Kaito. That was his nickname in IRC.
Oh my God. That's really long ago. Of course, everybody in those days had a nickname. You're not going online with your real name. Hello, that's stupid. So if you went to a channel, you saw all the names of people who were there, 10, 20, 50, whatever. And they were all interesting names. And the Sergey tell his nickname. This is Nazgul. It's a Lord of the Rings character. That was him. I think he changed it then, after a few years, to Hackerman.
Hey guys, I'm Hackerman. Today I'm gonna show you how to hack common household objects back or forward in time. But remember, with great processing power comes great responsibility.
Hi, in this video we're going to talk about details about Open Subdivision integrated into Blender. Currently it runs at 0.2 FPS, which is not great at all. But once all the calculation is done, we can have pretty much acceptable FPS. It's going to be an Open Subdiv modifier branch. And this is one simple script. What's the frame?
It doesn't get sharp. Set 40.
At some point when we call this code reviews, and there was this moment in Blender or VMware were just doing a bunch of not so fun code reviews, and that's when the avatar came from. But then people escalate this creativity out of proportion and like started bringing frogs. The decision to change the avatar was like because it depicts the inner state of you looking to some of the pull requests and patches and stuff.
Yeah, so a little update on the organization of the development team. I think everyone knows we've been wanting to improve the organization for a while now, what we call management, and so that's going to be Dalai, Sergey, and I. This is new for Sergey, coming from principal to lead engineer, and so that's also something we're going to go over. If possible, Sergey, because he's going to be overseeing the whole development, he shouldn't be talking to 20 people in the same day, otherwise it's going to make it very difficult to do his job.
So I have 48 notifications from the project's platform to reply to. While we're waiting, you can click on it. It's like, okay, so there is some discussion. Someone is adding test, which is good. It's a very beautiful image for regression test, which is a duck. And then you go like, you look at it. It's very noisy because cycles, but then you go like say, okay, well, screw it, and then you approve. The thing is, for some stuff it's easy to reply, for some other it's like, It's like a galaxy made of volume, and the resolution is not very good because our test files are tiny. But yeah, people are creative. Some of them I built, some of them, like this one I bought, others I built. When we started doing all this satellite and radio stuff, first thing you do, you get radio. And I was like, okay, you start building. So this is the development board from STMicro. In this prototype, it runs custom software. So basically, the current configuration is audio goes in, it processes on a microcontroller, and it's basically a decoder of the radio packets. So now it's being played back from the computer into audio cable into the device. So that's how they put digital information into audio. It's kind of they kind of type like SMS in a way, and then send it to whatever satellite using this IPRS thing, and it bounces a satellite retransmitted somewhere else. So then we cover a bigger distance. So I have some recording of which I made from the ISS some time ago. So again, in all those noises and stuff, they encode analog data. So some of the tones are like vertical synchronization, other tones are horizontal synchronization, the rest is just analog luminance and the chromaticity and things like that. In ISS, they used to make those events for some days, like where something big happened for radio enthusiasts, and it basically transmit postcards. So I had this antenna made, and I had this prototype on the radio. Then you go outside, and then you hook everything up, put the radio, some battery, the decoding, you point antenna to wherever ISS is flying, and then you receive signal from ISS. I think that was New Year event. So we're gonna quickly assemble a computer to run Doom. So this is 486 computer. So and this is how it plugs. So you plug it in the board like that, and this is basically just multiple ESA bus in parallel. We need audio card. This is just CF flash. So plug it here, yeah. Not all this SATA rubbish like IDE. Yeah, almost done. Not confusing at all. Plug it to the VGA temporarily. Then we need a keyboard. So yeah, it works. That's good. Let's do something else, because we used actual screen, yeah? The game was like, I think it's 92 release date, and it was really optimized to run on any computer. And there's this joke of like, well, Doom runs everywhere. People were running it on the coffee machines, people were running Doom on the pregnancy testers and things like that. And I'm like, okay, so the oscilloscope, right? And then like, how do you make Doom run on an oscilloscope? You can make a custom board which takes VGA input. We turn it on, and for now, just get an oscilloscope probe. We plug it to the oscilloscope, yeah, then we turn it on. Move the probe. Okay, some stuff starts to happen. We get another cable. Then we plug it to to second channel. Put this oscilloscope into XY mode. Okay, stuff starts to happen. Yeah, let's disable overlays. Now if we plug the attenuation signal, stuff becomes more interesting. And you can kind of like see like the, this DOS prompt, yeah? So this is the Doom on an oscilloscope. Hi.
Sorry! I'm sorry for all I did wrong.
You're always like... What was the question?
I wanted to give you macaron.
Macaron? Where is
to gift you macaron. Like my sister sent, but I did the filling and finished the macaron. It was a macaron kit. I got a macaron kit from France. Can you believe this?
And you managed to finish it.
And I managed to finish it.
That's the more unbelievable part.
Yes. What's happening at 2?
There's the meeting with HR.
About
Draw or something. Of me? The role.
The role.
Yeah, what you want to do in the company.
Everything. Isn't that your job?
My question is like, what type of the company you want it to be? What does bring us to work being excited? And in the past years, it seemed like excitement kind of, fades out. If it keeps fading out, then it's not that exciting to be here in any role. If it's exciting, then role is kind of whatever, secondary, because everything is so exciting anyway.
Oh wow, it's very two
extremes.
Dual. Yeah.
Back in the days where it was more just more than just the studio and more than just software company, the fact that, we work all together. So that was exciting, and that was making, the studio special because they had in-house tool, so to speak, and for software development part, it was also exciting because that's something that does not really belong in other purely software companies. I mean, that's what ultimately, my choice, why to join Blender, because, there's this special thing. We need some feedback from artists, but they're busy with something else. So if we want to somehow benefit, from artists being here, it's like having more of them, so then we can benefit much easier from them. That'd be great.
Well, I think that
we have to think about the names.
Yeah.
I don't know what engineering is. I think you would do development thing.
Head of development.
So he's going to be head of development. We settled on the title of heads and development because that's what makes the most sense for everyone.
Head of development. Job description. What do head of development do? Heads of development in IT are responsible for making sure that technology, product, and services work properly.
And so really leading the software engineering part.
Requires leaders who understand how to build and maintain successful and sustainable software applications, websites, and other digital products. They must have a knock on both problem solving and people management. Yeah, totally. So great in people management. I love it.
He's going to give more presentations. He's going to give, he really is now the go-to person.
Should be able to understand and reflect on the team's performance and have a good understanding of project management processes.
Keeping on doing what he's been doing for the last years, but really having the responsibility and the ownership of code quality.
Must also progress strong interpersonal skills.
But now he really is the final say on development.
No, I never was looking forward to that role. I just accept it as it needs to happen. Someone needs to fill it in, so might as well just take one for the team.
He won't be coding a lot.
I can't code anymore, no.
He's gonna get everything on his table.
I'm listing all the code I did in Blender repository. So clean up compiler warnings. Exciting. Cross-modifying material, that was a simple thing. Reduce BPY module for Linux from 540 megabytes to 360. That was fun. Had to happen last minute for the release.
When I came here, what struck me was how different each person was experiencing being a developer at Blender. Some people have been here 2 years, some others 10, 15. And some are it seems like they're floating and it's so easy and comfortable for them and they're doing things they like. And some others look like they are carrying the world on their shoulders. So there seemed to be some unevenness, right, within the team.
Sergey I think he also likes to make things himself. He's a maker, just like Brecht, many developers like to build things themselves. And it's not always fun that you have to look at other people's ideas and then cut it in pieces and reassemble it and help those people to get their ideas done better. But I know he can do it, right? It's his skill. So we will find out if we can find a way to do it in a way that it doesn't make him exhausted.
We're gonna pick up some radio stuff, go to the only mountain in the Netherlands, or well, at least in Amsterdam, point some stuff to the sky, and download an image from space. Hello. I think we take the next one. Yes. I don't know, like this pitching stuff feels a bit strange.
It's not strange because it's just internal to us currently, and everyone has to develop their own project and make sure that they present the idea as clear as possible to everyone else.
It's like connection and bonding and feeling that we all work together. And
you can come, ask Francesco and Fiona why that decision was made. I mean, I know that I don't want to pitch the whole thing to like 30 people because I think like it's going to be way too much of a discussion, I think. I can tell you what it is right now, like you even know, because I've told you before also, before I told anyone else. But it's basically the same thing. It's about creatures in space in an alternate past where there was no planets and only suns, and then we learn how the first planet got made.
No, but that sounds cool. It kind of reminds me of the Spores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
game. I'm not sure if you played it. The struggle of Blender in the studio. It's like when we started with Blender, okay, so it was something unique. It's like, okay, so you come to whatever the institute, you're there with creative team, and we have quite clear goals. It's like, okay, so that's the movie we are making. Okay, so how to make the best movie of what we have, and what is the tools we can make to make that movie even better, and we kind of work as a team, and then okay, you do it, and then you share things with the world. But here it's like somehow weird. It's like, okay, developers need to push Blender forward, but also need to cover the studio, and then the studio kind of wants to do exciting movies, but also need to be involved in the developer side.
There's lots of developers dropping by here all the time. I think that's very good. I feel like we're still a little bit too separated. When we were a smaller team, we were all in the same room. If you're in the same room, you also see the daily struggles, the things that work well, the things that don't work well. I think it's really important to be well connected. I feel that's a thing that we're currently a little bit struggling with.
There is still some amount of separation, which is kind of annoying, because some management on the studio side, they don't really know impact of some stuff happening. For some topics we need to work much closer, and it needs to be not just the thing that, hey, we came up with this solution, make it fast. It should be, okay, so how to achieve this look in the most efficient way.
Welcome everyone to the Compositor workshop. Yeah, my general idea is to kind of set the structure for the Compositor module now that I'm joining. Yeah, we'll see how much we can define today. I think my idea is to define this little by little, but these are the questions that are interesting to me. Yeah, split it in the expectations and the goals. We have the VFX and video module within Blender, and it's split into two sub-modules, so to speak. There is the VSE, the video sequence editor, and there is the Compositor. Me, Omar, and Sergey so far have been working on the Compositor. The idea was to align our ideas and expectations from each other, as well as from the Compositor module. Yeah, Sergey will be stepping down, so I will be taking some roles from Sergey there. He wants to have less responsibilities on the Compositor side of things, and that's why I joined Blender in the first place, to have more resources there to help out, so that Sergey can also focus somewhere else.
Okay, so what did I do last week? A lot of individual talks. We've been very busy with Sergey, but there are some things we can't finalize yet.
I don't know, just bunch of meetings, bunch of talks. Nothing super worthy mentioning. Just replying to the patch requests, patches, whatever things. This week I guess more of that. There's a number of things I need to take care of. 44 things for the code review. All this I reviewed, you can unstar, and then it's like, Yeah, it's 43 things I need to deal with. We are gonna attempt to download image from space from a weather satellite. So we're setting some software to help with that. Well, the antenna goes to amplifier, which is an antenna, then the cable goes to the radio, and it goes to the laptop, then there's the software to do radio part of it. Then in this software there's this plugin you need to install, so that allows to talk to another piece of software, which is this one, which does the satellite tracking and does the frequency shifting. So what are you tracking? Now 18, and then click this button. There are a few of those satellites flying around, and there is one of them is like about to get behind horizon. You start to see the carrier, the center of the carrier. It's kind of still there. Physics works. If not up for the fog, we totally would see it. Just 900 kilometers is like, you know, how good your eyesight is. Start like seeing some stuff from it, but it's still like just noisy and didn't lock in properly. I mean, I'm also recording what it's receiving, so we can try different software in the post-processing later. So in this room, Brecht will be joining, hopefully, in January, and he'll be sitting where he was sitting. Weijen is moving from the open room to the new table here, and then hopefully Klima also joins, so it will be the rendering room. Klima wanted to paint the room, so we should paint it in the colors of Cornell box, the traditional test render scene. So we paint one wall red, the other one green.
You have to put it. Good. Way. I'm moving. I've been forced out of my place. The idea is to have all the render engineers in one room, so that it helps the communication between everybody.
But you made it so nice. I know.
But I have a new corner to make nice now. And this taking like the half of the room. Who brought it?
So guess maps.
No, it's like, you know, it's so like people feel less inclined coming to it. It's like a protection for you.
You really can't move this like in the back.
Go for it. You don't break it.
This is.
You break this. You break this plan to break my heart, and then. Phew.
Already? I mean, I already did it. You're fine, no?
So it's decoding the image, and it does all sorts of overlays and things. Now it's like all nicely aligned, and it's kind of cool and satisfying. So the yellow thing doesn't come from satellite. It's like the software. But it's kind of nicely aligned. Told you it would be like just like absolutely great thing on top of the Netherlands, and it's great thing on top of the Netherlands. Like how can you zoom in here? And the rest is just clear. It's like this cutout from like where we are, like almost like exactly on the borders. Isn't that interesting?